Ah, boobs. You know them, you love them, and if you're like approximately 61.4% of my audience here on YouTube, you got them. And speaking of boobs, you may have heard of a recent controversy surrounding the only US state flag to feature a visible breast. We're looking at you, Virginia. See, a couple of weeks ago, a Texas school district banned the Virginia flag from their educational database used by kids in 3rd through 5th grade for apparently violating the district's recently adopted ban called the Reader Policy on any visual depictions or illustrations of frontal nudity in elementary school library material, which technically includes the Virginia flag. But here's what's so interesting about that. According to PEN.org, an organization that's been fighting for over 100 years to promote and protect free speech here in the good old US of A, the district's policy goes beyond what was supposed to be required by Texas's law. Signed in 2023, the law would ban sexually explicit materials in schools and require library vendors to rate material for explicit content. But as PEN.org helpfully points out, nudity is not inherently sexually explicit or even suggestive. And if you disagree with that statement, I would love to hear how you feel about écorché models, anatomy textbooks, breastfeeding classes, Holocaust photos, religious paintings, or little babies who run around in their chunky little birthday suits. Are you sexualizing them? Are you? Because if you are, that's pretty freaking gross. So if nudity isn't inherently sexual, why ban a historical flag over it? Texas? And also, why is there a boob on Virginia's flag in the first place? Well, we'll get back to the first question, but to answer the second question, all we need to do is look into the history of the Virginia flag. See, it was designed during the Civil War in 1861, but the flag was actually just based on the Virginia seal, and the Virginia seal was made with the Roman-loving, tyranny-hating, Eurocentric ideals of America in 1776. So, on the seal of Virginia, it shows the Roman deity Virtus, who was the deity of bravery and military strength. And fascinatingly, although Virtus is shown as a female warrior on the flag, in mythology they actually have several different forms, including an old man, a woman, like we see on Virginia's seal, or a strapping male soldier, sometimes clad in nothing but a cape. Which, like, go off, I guess? So technically the Roman god Virtus isn't even really female, they're more like gender fluid. Which honestly, I think is pretty ironic, considering that the other big entry that was banned by Texas was an entry on types of families that was banned because it spoke about gender-fluid individuals. Okay, cool, but why the one boob, though? Well, actually, there's a lot of reasons why many female figures in historical art, especially those of high birth or representing allegories, or thought of as divine like Aphrodite or the Mother Mary, have at least one boob kinda just hanging out. And while we won't touch on all of them today, I will say that the symbolism is often highly contextual. For instance, in Mother Mary, it's obviously not like a spicy image. Instead, it's meant to represent charity and the spiritual sustenance that Mary provided the Son of God, as well as the physical act of breastfeeding that symbolized her motherhood. But the Virginia flag is admittedly much less nurturing. Actually, the whole point of the seal is to emphasize the defeat of tyranny. That's why the Virginia state motto is quite literally, "Death to tyrants," a statement that I honestly have to agree with. So as a warrior and Roman goddess, she is often depicted in similar fashion to the Amazons, the female warriors known for cutting off one breast to facilitate easier fighting, like in wielding a bow, and keeping one breast to help feed their children. Hence, one boob. And that boob is a nod to battle, not to titillation. Pun absolutely intended. But here's the really goofy thing. The Virginia flag wasn't even originally made with a breast exposed. The original flag was designed off of the Virginia seal, where Virtus was entirely clothed. No boob out. It was only in the early 1900s when the design was changed so as to make people certain of the figure's gender. Why? Well, a 1901 report by the Virginia State Library Board said the seal was lacking in artistic grace and beauty. It also emphasized how ambiguous the gender of the main figure was, saying that Vertus has the figure of a man rather than a woman. This offended the Secretary of the Commonwealth so much that he immediately returned the seal to the engraver and was like,
"Listen, I know it's been 40 years, but can you please just add a single boob so that everybody knows it's a lady? Just one."
Because heaven forbid a historical warrior that's an allegory for Roman battle virtues not have massive jugs. What would the children think? Actually, what would they think, especially of the design as it stands now? What would they say? Would they be scandalized by the boob of Virginia? Well, when he was interviewed about it, Larry Sabato, a University of Virginia political scientist, said, "Do the kids ever go on a field trip to a museum? I mean, really, you're going to see naked bodies, not just a breast. We're going back to the 50s, except I think it's the 1850s instead of the 1950s. Even Virginia conservatives are confused over this choice. Little kids in elementary school, they don't know what a breast is, said Don Blake, chairman of the Virginia Christian Alliance. One note here, Don, my guy, kids 100% know what breasts are. They're just not the ones sexualizing a flag. In fact, Virginia Senate Clerk Susan Clark Shar recalled what one little girl took away from seeing the flag and its motto, Sic Semper Tyrannis, during a tour of the Capitol as 4 simple words. Take that, big boy. Surprising no one, I think this Texas school district is being more than a little ridiculous. Look, I get it, some art is not kid-friendly, but banning the Virginia flag isn't protecting children. It's sexualizing something that was never sexual to begin with. Censoring all nudity teaches kids that the human body, especially the female body, is inherently sexual. And that's a harmful lesson. So in closing, Texas, I have one statement for you. It's just a boob. Get over it. This video is sponsored by me and my Patreon, where I post links to exclusive content such as YouTube live streams, bonus videos, and perhaps most importantly, you can help me to keep these videos and education about the goofiest parts of art history free for everybody. So I hope you're having an amazing week, except for you, Texas. You kinda suck right now, but that's okay. I'm sure you'll do better next time. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you next week. Also of note, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be releasing a video all about women's bodies throughout art history, how they've been perceived, how art history has changed how we see women, and also how trends influence and reflect the culture around them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks as always to my patrons, and I hope that you have an incredible week. See you next Friday. You guys want to see my new docs? Look at my shoes!